I think Putin is angry and frustrated right now. He's likely to double down and try to grind down the Ukrainian military with no regard for civilian casualties. But the challenge that he faces, and this is the biggest question that's hung over our analysis of his planning for months now, as Director Haynes said, is he has no sustainable political endgame in the face of what is going to continue to be fierce resistance from Ukrainians.
So that was CIA Director William Burns at the Worldwide Threats hearing this morning before the House Intel Committee with a very frank assessment of Russian President Vladimir Putin's state of mind as his troops attack the Ukrainian military and civilians. And now that the Biden administration is increasing the pressure by halting Russian energy imports, there's a lot of speculation about what an angry, frustrated, and an increasingly isolated Vladimir Putin might do. Andrei Kozyrev served as the Russian foreign minister from 1991 to 1996, the first person to serve in that role in the post-Soviet era, and was a member of the Russian legislators' lower house, the Duma, until the year 2000. He joins me now. Mr. Minister, thank you so much for joining us again. It's great to see you. What would an isolated, angry Vladimir Putin be thinking right now as his army's march into Ukraine is not going as planned?
I think he will, exactly as the secretary said, or director of the CIA said, that he will double down on that. He will try to intimidate the West and intimidate Ukrainians. And unfortunately, he kind of succeeds to have initiative, military initiative, while NATO seems to be too cautious to me. So, I mean, in military field. But at least there are sanctions which could be more severe, though, if Europe would be more forthcoming. So Ukrainians are really shouldering now the war, and they are to win this war, but the casualties might be even greater and will be, unfortunately, greater. So it will be worse before it gets better. But he acts out of desperation, that's clear.
You have said that the sanctions against oligarchs are actually a powerful tool. This ban on oil today from the U.S., as some have suggested, is important, mostly symbolic, but without Europe getting on board, kind of ineffective. Do you share that assessment? Definitely.
I mean, there is statistics. It's not a large part of their oil exports. And unfortunately, Germany and other European countries are totally unprepared. And that should be a lesson for future. Whatever the result, and the result will be, of course, defeat of Russia in this war, because it's impossible to win over people. But it should be also a lesson to the West. The West should not even think of coming back to business as usual with Russia. They have to free themselves from that dependence on Russian oil and gas, and they have to keep sanctions until Russia, not until Russia withdraws forces, because that will the Ukrainian people do. They will force them to withdraw forces sooner or later. But to keep sanctions before Russia becomes a normal country, a country to which you can rely to follow the rules, very simple rules. Otherwise, it will repeat itself every 2-3 years down the road, and not only with Putin himself, but with his entourage, which will probably inherit the power sooner or later. So it's a situation very tragic, but it should be a lesson for future.
Right.
Until Russia becomes normal country, no business as usual.
We have about 45 seconds left, but I wanted to ask you about something you tweeted out urging Russian diplomats to resign. A large part of that tweet was in Russian. I'm curious to get your thoughts on, have you heard from any Russian diplomats? Are you still in contact with any who shed some light on what they are thinking? Do you anticipate there being mass resignations over what Vladimir Putin is doing?
No, I didn't expect mass resignations, but I expect them to start thinking about what they are doing. And also the military, the diplomats and the military have to protect their people, their countries. And this aggression is destroying both brother country, Ukraine, and Russia. So I just wanted them to wake up to their real duty.
All right. Former Russian Foreign Minister Andrei Kozrev. Sir, thank you so much for your time and your insights. Greatly appreciate it, as always.